Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Cassandra here, and today we have a March wrap-up. And to be honest, it came too quick, okay? I felt like I had more time left, so what I'm going to do is walk you through the books that I read first, the books that I still have to read, and they are going to be moved into my TBR for April, which is going to be my next video, so I hope you guys enjoy this. So to start with, I'm going to start with the audiobook, and the audiobook was Affliction, which is a second in a biker smutty kind of romance. And I must say that I got to a certain part, and it's not like I'm DNFing it, but I just didn't feel, I didn't want to do really anything where I could really listen to it. So I just felt just like, I know, it just didn't feel like I was in a mood to listen to it, because usually I listen to it when I move furniture or I do things around the house, but I was doing a lot of schoolwork and yeah, just didn't really pick it up. Non-fiction book that I've read this month, and it was The Gift of Imperfections by Brene. It was sort of kind of for school, so as you can tell, it is very tabbed for me. She talks about perfectionism, she talks about how your imperfections can actually help you in the long run, and how to work around certain things, you know, cultivating self-compassion and things like that. Great, enjoyed it. I love to listen to her as well when she does her TED Talks. So that was a great read. She's a tiny book, but she is going to call you out like nobody's business. Are Ven and Bass, which are book 2 and 3 in a mafia kind of series, and they were in the beginning of the month. I think I've read them like day after day or something like that. Great. I actually enjoy them more than the first book, so highly recommend. I think they were like 3.5 stars, which is to me quite a high ranking, simply because it's like, it's a good book. I recommend it. It's just not like the most beautifully written, or it's not the most intriguing story. It was just good. I had a great time while reading it, so I enjoyed both. So this is editing future casts, and I just realized that I didn't talk about the last 2 books, simply because I know that I already did a video, which I did a reading vlog. So the first book I needed to mention was Playing with Fire, which touches on a story of a girl that has been through certain things. She has one side of her face, and I think it's an arm that's been burned, and a kind of bad boy. He's like an asshole. He's not just a bad boy, but he is underground fighter too. And it's kind of like it's supposed to be like a steamy story. It was very slow burner, but it was a really, really good story anyways. I did a reading vlog for this one. And the last book that I've read was a Sour Candy, which is a book by Kilpatrick Burke, which I really, really enjoyed. And I enjoyed his previous work, which was Kin as well. But yeah, so those were the 2 that I didn't mention. But if you want to know more about these, they are already in my previous video, which was the reading vlog. So I just thought I'm going to pop in and tell you guys that I did read those 2, because I felt like I was missing something. I got to that part and completely missed those 2. So that's it. Let's get it. Then we go to the actual physical books that I have that I've read for pleasure. And the first one, and I have the video for King and The Shining. So that was my first Stephen King book that I actually read, and I gave it like 3.54 stars, something like that, because it was fine, but I feel like it dreaded. I feel like I need to get used to his writing too. So it was fine, but it took me a while to get through it. I feel like this month was really, really slow reading month for me anyways. The second one was an amazing read, and is 5 stars, as it usually is, which is Throne of Glass, and that's by Sarah J. Maas. We love her. If you guys don't know what Throne of Glass is, we have Selena, which she is basically getting recruited by a prince to fight in like this it's like a competition to become the king's champion. There we go. Someone listened to the audiobook. And she is very young, but she is well-known assassin in the kingdom. But she can't go under her own name, so she pretends, obviously. And we have her entire story of what's happening. Great, great, great. Is the first one in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or 7 books in the series. So that was the first one. Then finally, your girl read Bird Box. Also, I love how floppy this one is. Okay. So Bird Box was on my TBR from, I think, February, and I actually finally got to it. And that was actually quite a quick read for me. I actually really enjoyed it. It was great. But it ended, and I needed more. I needed part two of what happens after. So we have there's perspective of a lady from her current situation and her past situation, where she has two kids she's taking care of, but they have their eyes covers all the time because when you go outside, people basically die. It's either by going crazy or they don't know what's outside. So if you want to go outside, you have to have your eyes covered, because if you see it, whatever it is, people usually end up what happens after the book finished. So that's what I needed. But I enjoyed it. I gave it like 4.5 stars because I think it was a really, 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 really good read. Can I say really one more time? Great read. Then we have actually a book that has been recommended on my counseling group Facebook page kind of thing. So they recommended this one, and The Midnight Library has been very popular actually all over BookTube, and it does mention mental health, it mentions suicide. It's a journey of a lady who in the book is described as she decided to kill herself, and she gets transported to this library where she basically has an opportunity to look back at everything that had happened through her life, and sometimes even the most perfect life that we would have imagined might have not been what we thought that it would have been. So we think, well, if I just stayed with that person, we would have been lived happily ever after. But you don't know how they would have carried on, or if you travel to the place that you traveled, maybe like the butterfly effect. So what could have happened if you made a different decision? If you maybe went on that trip, maybe the plane would have crashed. So you don't know. And the story is really great to look back at certain things. And my favorite part, we always strive to be better, and I would like to be like her or have a car like him and the career that they have. But actually being the most you can be is your superpower. And I thought it was amazing. I seen and we go through different options that she could have gone in life, and I really, really, really enjoyed it. And quite a quick read. I think it was like two seats and it was done really good. I know that Matt Haig has been getting some slack lately. He's been pulled apart on his Instagram. I don't really know what it was about. I think it was something he misreferred to a mental health disorder, something like that. But I actually genuinely enjoyed what he said, and there's a couple other books that I want to read by him. But yeah, if you guys know what actually happened, drop the tea down below. And with that being said, I do have 3 books that I am currently reading, and they're going to go further towards my February towards my April TBR. So I'm going to spoil it here so you guys have a spoiler for the next book. And so I am currently 338 pages into Sarah J. Maas' The House of Earth and Blood. And actually that is a first part of me reading it, because I do want to read it in Polish as well, and then compare on how it reads when it's translated, and if there's a much difference in how it's described. Also, I haven't read a book in Polish in forever, so I'll definitely be doing a reading book for that. Must say, the book is 800 pages, so she's thick. And the first 200 pages, I was almost like, what was the hype about? Because I was really close to putting it down and be like, that's not for me. I don't want to be reading this, because it just really felt like the book was dragging. I couldn't get into it. But once I go into it, and now I have 2 weeks Easter holidays, guys. So do I need sleep tonight? I'm planning to having it over by tomorrow, the latest, tomorrow evening, the latest, because I have very hefty TBR for next month. And the 2 books that I want to read, hopefully again within this weekend, so on Monday I could preferably start writing my essay, is So You Want to Talk About Race and Feminists Don't Wear Pink, simply because my essay is about cultural competence and the differences in autonomy, and is for ethics and cultural competence. So I thought both great things. How that one, I think I should educate myself anyways, and I aim to read 1 nonfiction book a month every single month. So yep, I'm hoping. I feel like that's quite reasonable. That one has the writing is quite big and spacious, so I'm hoping that it's going to be quite an easy read. I'm planning on reading an hour of those today as well, and the other one is tiny, but I am annotating both, so it's taking a little bit longer. And that is all I've read in March. I wanted to know what you guys read in March. What was your favorite book of the month? And with that being said, I hope you enjoyed it. And until the next time, I will talk to you guys soon.